Your baby monitor just caught your wife whispering, "He'll never know." Your husband's Uber receipt just arrived to your email at 3 in the morning with your sister's address as the destination. And somewhere right now, a man is staring at a glowing iPad screen, watching 400 photos of a life his wife built without him. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear are 5 real stories of betrayal that were uncovered not by suspicion, not by accusations, but by the quiet, indifferent logic of technology. A forgotten app, a cached login, a trail camera hidden in a bush, a bank branch that opens at 9 in the morning. These are not rumors. They are not dramatic rewrites of something that maybe happened to a friend of a friend. These are documented stories, backed by screenshots, receipts, court records, and first-hand accounts that spread across Threads, Reddit, and X with hundreds of thousands of responses from people who recognized something painfully familiar in every single one of them. Welcome back to Venture and Karma. I'm glad you're here, and I need you to do one thing before we start. Drop a number 1 in the comments right now if you have ever had a gut feeling about someone you loved that you talked yourself out of believing. Because every person in today's stories had that feeling, and every single one of them was right. Let's get into it. Story number 1, the nursery frequency. There is a specific kind of silence that fills a house when a new life is coming. A silence that feels sacred, protected, like the walls themselves are holding their breath. A 32-year-old software engineer, let's call him David, knew that silence well. He had been chasing it for months, working double shifts across 2 states, pushing through exhaustion to pay for the renovations on the house where he and his wife were preparing to bring their first child into the world. His wife was 7 months pregnant. She was home overseeing the final work on the nursery. David was in a sterile hotel room 1,000 miles away, eating room service and counting the days until he could come back. One evening, missing her more than usual, he opened the smart home app on his phone. He just wanted to look at the crib camera, to feel connected to the room, to the future, to something real. The video feed was dark. Someone had placed a cloth over the lens, but the audio feed was live. He expected to hear a paintbrush or maybe the soft hum of a radio. He pressed the phone to his ear. What he heard instead was breathing, low, close, deliberate, and then a voice he recognized immediately. The contractor they had hired, a man David had shared a beer with on the porch just 3 weeks earlier, talking about the local football team and the best route to avoid highway traffic. The contractor said quietly, "We have to be careful. What if he checks the cameras?" David's chest tightened. He didn't move. He didn't breathe. And then he heard his wife's voice, soft, relaxed, with the particular ease of someone who feels completely, utterly safe. "He's 1,000 miles away, baby. The nursery camera is off. He'll never know." David sat completely still in that hotel room for what felt like an hour, but was probably 45 seconds. Then he hit the screen record button on his phone, and he listened for 45 minutes as every image he had ever held of his marriage was quietly, methodically taken apart over a live audio feed while he sat under a fluorescent light in a room that smelled like synthetic carpet cleaner. He didn't call her. He didn't drive home that night. He didn't send a single message. He finished his shift. He came home on the scheduled day. He walked through the front door with his bag over his shoulder. He complimented the nursery. He said the yellow was perfect. He made dinner. And the next morning, while his wife was still asleep, he placed the printed divorce papers on the kitchen table, next to her coffee mug, in the exact spot where she always sat. He never raised his voice. He never had to. The recording said everything that needed to be said. Story number 2, the phantom destination. Sometimes the truth doesn't arrive like a thunderclap. It arrives like a notification, small, quiet, easily dismissed, unless you're paying attention. Sarah and Mark had been married for 6 years. On the surface, their life looked fine. Good jobs, nice house, shared calendar on the refrigerator, the infrastructure of a functioning partnership. But something had shifted. Mark had started sleeping in the guest room. His explanation was reasonable. His snoring had gotten worse. His new promotion was causing insomnia. He didn't want to disturb her. It sounded considerate, almost thoughtful. Almost. One Tuesday morning, Sarah was clearing out her spam folder when she noticed something. An Uber receipt, $42, timestamp, 2:15 a.m. on a Sunday, sent to an old backup email that Mark had linked to his corporate account years ago during a vacation and simply forgotten. Sarah clicked on it. The map loaded. Pickup location, their house. Drop-off, a luxury apartment complex on the other side of the city. She didn't say anything. She closed the email and went to work. She acted completely normal that entire day. She cooked dinner. She asked about his meetings. She laughed at something he said. The following Thursday, another receipt arrived. 3 a.m., same drop-off address, same building. Sarah drove there the next afternoon, parked in the visitor lot, walked to the building directory mounted near the entrance, and scanned the names. Most of them meant nothing to her, and then she found one that meant everything. Apartment 4B. Chloe, Sarah's maid of honor, the woman who gave a speech at their wedding about what a perfect couple they were, the woman whose number was saved in Sarah's phone under a small pink heart. Mark wasn't suffering from insomnia. He was lying in the dark waiting for his wife to fall asleep so he could order a car to her best friend's apartment. Sarah went home. She did not throw his clothes from the balcony. She did not scream. She did not give him any warning at all. She waited until the following Friday. While Mark was in the shower, she booked an Uber XL to arrive at their house in 20 minutes. She packed his bags calmly and completely. Every drawer, every shelf, every charger. When Mark walked out of the bathroom with a towel around his waist, the front door was open. His bags were on the porch. A large black SUV was idling in the driveway, and Sarah was standing in the hallway, looking at him with an expression so calm, it was terrifying. She said, "Your driver is here. I've already given you the destination." She closed the door before he could speak. She heard the car pull away. She made herself a cup of tea, and she sat in the silence of her own house for the first time in months and felt something unexpected. Relief. Okay, stop for a second. 2 stories in, and both of these people were betrayed by someone who genuinely believed they were invisible. Someone who had constructed a system, a schedule, a set of habits designed to make discovery impossible. And in both cases, the system collapsed because of one tiny forgotten detail, an audio feed left open, an email address nobody remembered existed. Here is what the next 3 stories prove. The more elaborate the lie, the more points of failure it creates. And in 2025, those failure points have names: iCloud, Ring cameras, WhatsApp web. Every device you own is quietly keeping records that you will never think to delete, because you never thought you'd need to. Stay with me, because story number 3 is the one that makes people text their partners immediately after watching it, and it starts with a child who just wanted to play a drawing game.
Story number 3, the Cloud Archive. We all have that drawer. You know exactly which one I mean. The drawer with dead batteries and tangled charging cables and 3 different kinds of headphones that no longer fit anything. And somewhere at the bottom of it, an old device you keep meaning to recycle but never do. For Elena, that drawer held a first-generation iPad. Her husband had upgraded to the newest Pro model and tossed the old one aside without a second thought. It had been sitting untouched for nearly 3 years. One rainy Sunday afternoon, their 6-year-old son asked to play a specific drawing app that only existed on the old device. Elena found it in the drawer, plugged it into the wall, waited for the slow boot, and connected it to their home Wi-Fi network for the first time in years. She opened the Photos app to free up storage space for the game. old vacation pictures, birthday parties, dogs they used to own. And then the iPad did something Elena didn't expect. Because the moment it connected to Wi-Fi, it began syncing with her husband's iCloud backup, a backup he had set up years ago and never disabled, a backup that had been quietly, automatically collecting photographs the entire time the iPad was sitting in that drawer. A folder appeared on the screen, labeled simply, Archived. Elena tapped it. 412 photographs loaded. Her husband at a ski resort in Colorado, her husband with a glass of wine on a candlelit balcony in Venice, Italy, her husband laughing on a rooftop somewhere in Barcelona. In every single photo, he was holding the hand or kissing the cheek of the same woman. Elena had never been to Colorado. She had never been to Italy. She had never been to Barcelona. She opened the metadata on the first photo. The date was stamped clearly. Colorado was taken during the emergency sales conference her husband said he had to attend the weekend of their son's 3rd birthday. The birthday Elena spent alone with a cake and a video call because Daddy was so sorry he just couldn't miss this one. Italy was the week he spent on a solo mental health retreat because, as he told her with tears in his eyes, he was feeling overwhelmed by the pressure of work and marriage, and he just needed 4 days alone to reset. He was in Venice with someone else, eating pasta on a canal. Elena sat on the kitchen floor with that iPad in her hands while her son drew pictures in the next room. She didn't cry. She airdropped every single photograph to her own phone, all 412. Then she carried the iPad to the kitchen table and placed it on her husband's dinner plate, screen facing up, displaying the Venice photo, his dinner getting cold beside it. When he came home that evening and saw it, he didn't say a word. He just stood in the doorway of the kitchen, still in his coat, staring at the screen. Elena said from across the table, very quietly, "The iPad needed more storage. I freed some up." Story number 4, the scheduled blackout. Technology is supposed to make us feel safe. A camera above your front door, a notification every time someone rings the bell, the quiet reassurance that your home is being watched and that you are in control of who watches it. But what happens when the person disabling your security system is the person who lives inside it? Jessica noticed the pattern in February. Every Thursday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., her front door Ring camera went offline. The app would show a gray icon and a simple message, "Device lost connection." And by the time she returned from work in the evening, it was always back online, functioning perfectly, as if nothing had happened. She asked her husband, Tom, about it. He shrugged. "Probably interference from the microwave, or the router needs a reset. Don't overthink it." Don't overthink it. 3 Thursdays later, same thing. 9 a.m. offline, 11 a.m. back online. Tom worked from home on Thursdays. Jessica called the security company's technical support line. She explained the pattern. The technician ran a remote diagnostic and called her back within the hour. He told her the camera was not losing Wi-Fi signal. It was not a router issue. It was not interference from any appliance. The device was being manually rebooted. Someone inside the house was physically holding down the setup button on the side of the camera until the indicator light went dark. Tom worked from home on Thursdays. Jessica didn't confront him. She went to a sporting goods store that weekend and bought a battery-powered trail camera, the kind hunters mount to trees to photograph deer at dawn. She brought it home, and while Tom was watching television, she walked outside and buried it deep inside the decorative bushes beside the front porch, angled directly at the door and the driveway. The following Thursday, she went to work as usual. At 9:07 a.m., her Ring camera went offline. That evening, she retrieved the trail camera. She plugged the SD card into her laptop. At 9:04 a.m., Tom opens the front door. He walks onto the porch in his socks.
He reaches up to the Ring camera and holds the button until the blue light dies. He checks the street in both directions, then he goes back inside. At 9:11 a.m., a silver Honda turns into the driveway. A woman gets out, a woman from Tom's office, the one he had described to Jessica on multiple occasions as, honestly, kind of annoying. Tom opens the front door before she even reaches the steps. He pulls her inside by the waist. The door closes. Jessica watched the footage twice. Then she forwarded the full clip to her lawyer. She forwarded the technical support report confirming the manual reboot. She documented every date, every timestamp, every instance of a camera that went dark precisely when it needed to. Tom thought he had engineered an invisible window. He forgot that the most dangerous surveillance is always the one you never see coming. Before we get to the final story, and I promise you this last one is the most satisfying ending we've ever covered on this channel, hit that subscribe button right now, because what Rachel does in the next 8 minutes is a masterclass in staying completely calm while your world is on fire. Subscribe, then keep watching.
Story number 5. The Master. Checkmate. There is a moment in every betrayal story where the person being deceived finally sees everything clearly, where the fog lifts, where the confusion and the self-doubt and the quiet anxiety of maybe I'm imagining things suddenly collapse into a single, terrible, crystalline certainty. For Rachel, that moment came at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night. She was at the family iMac trying to check her email when she noticed something. Her husband's WhatsApp web session was still active on the screen. He had forgotten to log out. Rachel had suspected something was wrong for months. He was distant. His phone went everywhere with him, including the bathroom. He had changed the passwords on their shared accounts one by one, each time with a different excuse. She had nothing concrete, nothing she could point to and say, this. Until now. She sat down slowly. She looked at the screen. She began to read. Her husband wasn't just having an affair. He had been planning his exit for months. The messages were detailed, coordinated, almost administrative in their precision. He and his mistress had found an apartment in Florida. They had researched moving companies. They had talked about furniture. They had talked about which of their mutual friends he would keep and which he would let go, including Rachel's name in that conversation, reduced to a logistical variable in someone else's future. And then Rachel found the message that changed everything. Sent 4 days earlier. I'm transferring the savings tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I'll leave her the house, but she's not getting a single dollar of the liquid cash. We're free, baby. Their joint savings account, nearly $90,000, built over 10 years of combined salaries, disciplined budgeting, and delayed purchases, money Rachel had contributed to equally, month after month, for a decade. He was going to drain it while she was asleep, and by the time she woke up and realized what had happened, he would be on a highway to Florida. Rachel read the message twice. She closed WhatsApp. She went to the bathroom and stood at the sink for a long moment. Then she went to bed. She did not sleep. Not a single minute. She lay completely still in the dark, next to the man who was planning to disappear with her money, and she thought with perfect clarity about exactly what she was going to do. In the morning, her husband got up, made coffee, kissed her on the cheek, told her he loved her, and left for the office. Rachel waited 5 minutes, then she got dressed. She drove to their bank branch. She was standing at the door when the branch manager unlocked it at 9 a.m. sharp. Her name was on the joint account. She had full legal authority. She sat down with a banker and she requested a cashier's check for $89,900. She left exactly $100 in the account. She opened a new private trust in her name only. She deposited the check. She thanked the banker. She drove home. She made herself breakfast. She sat at the kitchen table and waited. At 10:04 a.m., her husband's first message arrived. Did we get hacked? Something's wrong with the account. At 10:09 a.m., Rachel, the balance is wrong. Can you check the app? At 10:15 a.m., Rachel, call me. The account is empty.
Rachel picked up her phone. She opened the iMac. She took a clear, steady photograph of his WhatsApp conversation, the message about the transfer, the apartment in Florida, the plan. She attached it to a reply, and she typed 8 words. I left you $100 for gas. Have a safe trip to Florida. She put her phone face down on the table, picked up her fork, and finished her breakfast. 5 stories, 5 people who were deceived by someone they trusted completely, 5 people who were underestimated by the exact person who should have known better. And here is what connects all of them. Not the technology, not the receipts, not the cameras or the cloud backups or the forgotten login sessions. Every single one of these people had a feeling, long before the evidence arrived, a small, persistent, easy-to-dismiss feeling that something was wrong. David heard something in his wife's voice that didn't sound right. Sarah noticed the guest room excuse a little too quickly. Jessica couldn't shake a pattern that looked exactly like a schedule. Rachel had been watching passwords change one by one for months. The gut feeling always arrives first. The evidence just gives it a name. If you are sitting with a feeling right now, I am not going to tell you what to do with it. That is yours to navigate. But I will tell you this. In 2025, the truth has more ways to surface than ever before. More devices, more logs, more metadata that quietly survives long after you thought something was deleted. The truth is patient. It always finds a way.
If these stories hit you, hit the like button. It takes 1 second, and it tells the algorithm to show this video to someone who might really need to hear it today. Subscribe to Venture and Karma if you haven't already, and drop in the comments which story stayed with you the longest. The nursery audio, the iPad in the kitchen, or Rachel sitting at the bank at 9 in the morning, 55 minutes ahead of the man who thought he had already won. I read every comment, every single one. Keep your eyes open, and I'll see you in the next one.